Begin in song, and I invite us to sing together with Cantor Boyle the song of gathering, Hinema Tovu Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How beautiful for brothers, sisters, and friends to gather together. Cantor, you're muted.
All right, let's try that again.
We begin with a poem. Shabbat is the place where time and space meet, without questioning how the beginning began or how the ending ends. Shabbat is the place where song and silence meet, blessing each other with the gift of rest. Shabbat is the place where dreams and angels meet, yearning together for a world of peace. Shabbat is the holy place where holiness and eternity meet, praying together for the world to come. The rabbis teach us that Shabbat is but a taste of the world to come, a glimpse of the peace and perfection of the world beyond our knowledge that we all yearn for. I think tomorrow here on the coastline, the Connecticut shoreline, many of us are going to have a little taste of the peace and stillness in our own houses as we welcome, if we could call it welcome, this winter storm that's about to come. And so I would invite us to, and welcome to those who are just coming in, I would invite us to share a word of greeting in the chat, a word of Shabbat Shalom if you wish, and you can tell everybody where you're joining from, and maybe share a favorite activity when you were a kid on a snow day, on a blizzard day. Or if you are a kid, you can share your present favorite activity. Yes, we have a few young ones here. I'm not going to call anybody out, but you can also share in our chat what you look forward to on a snow day. We'll begin our service with the blessing for Shabbat candles. If you'd like to follow along and you have a Siddur with you, this is on page 120. If you'd like to light your candles with us, this is the time.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
One more poem now. This one for the winter. Cold and dark, night overtakes day. Frigid air settles over the earth. The land waits while your creatures rest. Then a shift, small, imperceptible. The days slowly lengthen, and mornings surrender to light. Bless this day, God of seasons. Bless the winter with rest, renewal, and love. Be present with us as we prepare for another cycle of seasons with dignity and purpose. God of time and space, may this season be a blessing and a teacher. Make me like the long, deep night, a blanket of solace and comfort. Make me like the returning sun, a source of quiet hope. Bless my days with service and my nights with warmth. Make me like a new day, dawning from the kindness. As we enter into Kabbalat Shabbat, that medieval mystical service in which we approach God through poetry and song, I invite you to sing along with Yedid Nefesh, soul's desire, a longing for God, to feel connected, to feel at one.
Yedid nefesh avarachaman meshach avdecha eretz onecha yarutz avdecha kemoya yishtachaben al modarecha
It's really wonderful to see each other singing and know that our voices are rising together. See some clapping. It's easy in this setting to sit back and be a passive participant. But the truth is that it's a much better experience if we sing along, if we can put aside other distractions and focus on being together. That's the way that Shabbat can give us the sort of relaxation and renewal and connection that we're looking for. So don't want to put anybody on the spot, but if you haven't turned on your camera and you're able to, I invite you to do so. I invite you to put aside whatever is occupying you for the next 45 or so minutes and sing along with us, pray along with us. Let the stillness and peace of Shabbat enter your heart, and let that be the gift you give yourself for this time. Continue singing Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharim, Malachei Elyon,
I hope that these beautiful melodies are starting to find their way into your hearts, and that the sense of Shabbat is one that you can bring into your home with your family and around your dinner table tonight. I'm enjoying seeing the responses here in the chat of your favorite snow day activity. And sometimes being able to sit and watch the snow fall and enjoy some quiet, restful time with family is just exactly what the doctor ordered and perfectly in line with Shabbat. So if you haven't yet shared your own favorite Shabbat or blizzard activity during the storm that's coming, or perhaps the day after, if it's too rough to get outside during, feel free to do so. Let us know where you're at. Say Shabbat Shalom. We'd love to know what's going on with you this week. Continue in our Kabbalah Shabbat service now with Lecha Dodi.
Lecha, lecha, dodi, likrat, likrat, kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha, lecha, dodi, likrat, likrat, kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat nikabela. La, 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 lecha, lecha, dodi, likrat, likrat, kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha, lecha, dodi, likrat, likrat, kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'ribor echad, yishme'anu el ha'meyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem al tiferet v'leitchila. La, 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 lecha, lecha, dodi, likrat, likrat, kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha, lecha, dodi, likrat, likrat, kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor ha'beracha, ve'oshmikem nesocha. Socha haseh b'makshevat chila. La, 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 lecha, lecha, dodi, likrat, likrat, kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha, lecha, dodi, likrat, likrat, kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki ba'orei kol mi'orei, ori, ori, shidaberi, kevod Adonai Elohim nigla. La, 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 lecha, lecha, dodi, likrat, likrat, kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha, lecha, dodi, likrat, likrat, kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Please rise. Boi v'shalom, ma'ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'sola, tot emunei am segola. Boi chala, la, 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 lecha, lecha, dodi, likrat, likrat, kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha, lecha, dodi, likrat, likrat, kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat nikabela.
And we remain standing as we enter into our Ma'ariv service with Chatzi Kaddish and Baruch Hu.
Yet gadol v'yet kadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon v'yomechon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, ubizman karib, v'imero, amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach, Yirbarach, Yirbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitramam, V'yitnaseh, V'yithadar, V'yitalev, V'yithalal, Shemer Kursha, Brichu, Le'ela, Min Kol Birchata, V'shirata, Tush Bechata, V'nechemata, Damiran Be'alma, V'meru, Amen.
We can have a seat. We continue with this blessing for creation. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach she'arim, uvitvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umesader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uven layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Blessed are you, O God, who brings on evening. You can read together. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto, Le'olam va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'otecha ve'hayu hadvarim Helen, Asher Anochi Mitzabecha, Hayom Alevavecha, Mishinantam Levadnecha, Vidibarta Baham, Mishivtecha Bevetecha, Uvletecha Vaderech, Uvshokbecha Uvekumecha, Ukshartam Leot Al Yadecha, Vehayu Letotafot Beinenecha, Uktavtam Al Mizuzot Beitacha, Uvisharecha, Leman Tiskeru, Va'asitem et kol mitzvotai, Vitem Kedoshim Lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem emet.
And I just love seeing our young people chanting along and doing such a beautiful job doing it. I know Tali and Shari, even though I can't hear you, I know you're doing it so beautifully. Lovely to see some of our young people here at the service tonight. And I think that there is a blue passport stamp for a bat mitzvah passport in store as well. Oh, this reflection from our prayer book is based on the rabbinic idea that relates Egypt to narrow, difficult places. Mitzrayim in Hebrew sounds like Meitzarim, which means straits or narrow place, small place. So the rabbis pun on that and they connect one to the other, seeing the expanse of the split sea and the open desert ahead as the opposite of that. And so here we compare our experience in every generation to the experience of overcoming the narrowness, finding an open expanse somewhere on the other side, inviting us all to think at this moment, what narrow place do we need to go through and emerge on the other side in a better place, in a better way, a promised land? Because after all, Shabbat is exactly the response to the narrow place. Shabbat is the open expanse, the freedom, the sense of new beginnings and rest. Let's read together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together, and singing this song. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, you redeemed Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. We move now into a celebration of Shabbat. It says in Torah, Shamor et Yom HaShabbat, you should keep Shabbat. And whatever that means to us as modern Jews, we take the responsibility to orient ourselves toward this sacred time very seriously and very joyfully. And so that perfect mix of seriousness and joy, that is the very Jewish way that we live, is perfect here for Vishamru, which we will sing together with great joy.
Vishamru.
As we're learning in our Jewish bookshelf class, which I'm very excited to be teaching in these weeks. We have a couple of people here who are participants in that class. As we're learning every week in its own way, to be a Jew is to be ever in conversation with the past, sometimes reverently, often thoughtfully, we hope, sometimes with challenge, but always joyfully. Because when we look back at the past, we realize how far we have come. And even though it can also be a sadness to reflect on events gone by of pain and loss in the past, it also gives us a sense of purpose, continuity and direction, knowing how we want to live our lives based on how our ancestors lived theirs, what they learned, what they passed along to us. And the Amidah begins with an encounter with our past selves, with our ancestors, thinking of ourselves as the next chapter yet to be written in this unfolding Jewish story that, as many of us know, will one day be part of that bookshelf too. I invite us to rise as we join together in the blessings of the Amidah.
Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Uvi Agita Hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Kodnei Hakol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot Ve'imahot U'Mevi Geula Livnei B'neihem Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia Mashiv HaRuach U'Marid HaGashem Mechakel Chaim Bechesed Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim Umati Hasurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Avar Michamocha Bal Givurot Umidom Eloch Melech Leimit Umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua Benehem Atah L'Hachayot HaKol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei HaKol Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh U'Kedoshim B'Chol Yom Yahalelucha Selah Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
We pause now for a moment of introspection, a quiet, private prayer. It's a good opportunity to look away from the screen. There are too many screens in our lives, too frequently. And offer the prayer of our hearts. Take a moment to ourselves, and then we'll join together in a meditation for peace. Amen. We take a moment now to offer a prayer for those who are in need of healing this evening. And we can all have a seat if you want to get comfortable. We think of our temple members, Allison Broder, April D'Amato, Norma Diamond, Henry Gettenberg, Josh Lipschitz, Sabrina Maurer, and Paul Retsky. I believe I also saw Harry and Helena are here. Helena, I hope you're feeling better this week. And of course, we also think of our loved ones made known to our congregation, including Connie Ambrosino, Harriet Cohn Haggerty, Rochelle Downheimer, Mickey Bart, Jay Fliss, Debbie Berry, Robert Harris, Hel Katz, Bart Young, Matthew Pincus, Anthony Santamaro, Ethan and Kyle, Marion Macon, Mark Potter, Martha Potter, Ben Peck, Joan Sidney, Carolyn Henry, Ira Weiss, Josh Cohen, Elizabeth Powers Brown, Edward Winokur, Jennifer Cooper, Adam Zielinski, and Eileen Zients. I see some of you have already added into our chat here the names of your loved ones who you're thinking of. And for healing, we include Jennifer Butler, Suzanne Kingsbury. Are there any others? Amelia Sidney, David Char, and Maggie Atkinson. We include all of them among all of the Cholei Amo Yisrael, God's nation undergoing illness or struggle, as we all do. And so, together with our community, holding them in heart, we offer the Misha Berach prayer. Please join along.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
It seems like there are a lot of bugs going around at the moment. Colds and flus and noroviruses and all manner of nasty stuff. Last month, I had a cold and some others around our office had it too. And for some reason, those days, whenever I ran into other people and they heard me sniffling and coughing, I always felt the need to say, it's okay, it's not COVID. I just tested negative. I've noticed that others have been doing this too. Even on Zoom, where there's literally zero chance that we can give anybody else whatever we've got, we feel compelled to say, don't worry, It's not COVID. I think this is part of a shift in the way that we're talking about the virus. So that's what I'd like to discuss this evening. Recently, I was studying a section of the book of Leviticus with a bar mitzvah student. This particular Torah portion, called Mitzorah, deals with the disease called tzara'at, which some of you might have heard of growing up means leprosy, although that's not actually what it means. It's an unpleasant, scaly affliction that our ancestors feared could spread throughout the community and come to pollute the holiest places to the Israelites. This, of course, would have been very bad news, so they took many steps to protect against it. The individual afflicted had to quarantine outside the Israelite camp for a certain period of time, and only after a priest had pronounced the individual healed would he or she be able to re-enter. This exclusion alone would have been incredibly stigmatizing, it seems to me. But on top of that, the priest who diagnoses this condition is to, among other things, call out tameh, tameh. It says that right in the Bible. Impure, impure, out loud for everybody to hear. Presumably so that everyone would know there was a case of tzara'at in the community and to stay well enough away. How embarrassing for the patient. Talk about HIPAA. There was no HIPAA. It makes me think of that book that I read in middle school, The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne, where Hester Prynne is suspected of adultery and she's made to stand on a scaffold for several hours where she is subject to public humiliation. And of course, she is made to wear that eponymous scarlet A for the rest of her life. I can't help but feel like these days a COVID-19 diagnosis has become something like a modern day scarlet letter or a diagnosis of tzara'at with the negative moral valence and social consequences that follow. Truly, this saddens me. I was talking with our physician, head of our COVID task force, and our next president, Dr. Karen Goldberg, yesterday. This variant, this Omicron variant, it spreads like wildfire, she was telling me. Lots of people who take every precaution still get it. People who stay masked, people who are triple vaccinated. Friends, so many of us have had COVID. Many of us know that we've had it. Some of us aren't sure, but we suspect that we've had it. I'm pretty convinced that I've gotten it twice already. Once before I was vaccinated, and again after. Many of those in our congregation have gotten it. I would say probably a huge number of people in our congregation have gotten it in the last month and a half. It's not a shame. It's not a moral injury to have gotten it. Of course, we hope that everybody stays healthy and finds good treatment. Of course, it's incredibly important for us to follow public health experts' guidance about how to protect ourselves and others from the worst impacts of the virus, and to know what to do if we're exposed or test positive. But the diagnosis in and of itself should not carry a moral valence. No one is inherently good for avoiding it or inherently bad for contracting it. Has getting the coronavirus become yet another political wedge issue? I fear that, like so many things that should be reasons for unity, not division, yet somehow still divide us, and so bitterly in this country. This virus has climbed near the top of that list. If so, shame on us. Whatever happened to we're all in this together? In this topsy-turvy world, if you're in Camp Freedom, any mention of our responsibility to protect public health becomes a threat to your personal rights. On the other side, if you're in Camp Science and Responsibility, anything that COVID touches can become a moral liability. Left out of this knee-jerk tribal retreat are a lot of people in the middle who want to do the right thing for their families and their communities. people who are afraid or traumatized or victims of false assumptions by others. Do you agree? Perhaps I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. Nevertheless, I believe that at this point, our society could use a few more scarlet letters, a few less scarlet letters, fewer scarlet letters, and a lot more empathy. We've all heard that adage that one catches more flies with honey than vinegar, right? I want to be very clear, though. At TBT, we trust our medical advisors. We rely on our medical advisors, specifically our COVID task force led by Dr. Goldberg, whom I mentioned earlier. They have been instrumental in leading us to make compassionate, responsible, values-based decisions for our community. What I'm talking about tonight is less about the decisions that we make and more about our attitudes and our assumptions toward those who might disagree with those decisions. In the Torah this week, we read from Parshat Mishpatim, a collection of laws and narrative concluding the dramatic giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai. The Torah portion opens up with a list of commandments, many commandments, 53 mitzvot in all, 23 do's and 30 don'ts. The Torah portion opens, Ve'ela hamishpatim asher tasim lifnehem. These are the judgments, Moses, that you are to put lifnehem, before them. A 17th century teacher named the Siftei Cohen notes the plural, put before them, and connects it to responsibility for deliberation and judgment. It's a hint, he says, of an earlier rabbinic teaching. Do not rule alone as a judge, for there is only one who rules alone. Do not rule alone, for there is only one, capital O, who rules alone. In other words, don't be an island when it comes to doing what is right. Lean on your community, your experts. Yet, we have another comment also from the week's Torah portion, from a medieval scholar named Rashbam. And he says, a lesson to learn is that if, in your opinion, the majority are about to commit an error in judgment, do not remain silent because they are the majority, but rather state your view. This applies even if you know beforehand that they will not accept your viewpoint, but that of the majority. So, one of the things we learn from the behind-the-scenes discussion of our Torah portion among our medieval scholars is that we shouldn't be an island on the one hand, but also, on the other hand, we shouldn't just run after the crowd because the crowd is saying a certain thing. And all of us in this age of fake news and misinformation and the spread of falsehoods that have been in the news lately and always can certainly understand why this is the case. We listen carefully to the wisdom around us. We think for ourselves. That is certainly a Jewish value. Our society's strength lies in the fact that we don't make decisions alone. We have to listen to points of view that may trouble us or challenge our beliefs. If we have enough humility, we need to be open to new information and even willing to reverse our position if new evidence compels us. As the terrific industrial organizational psychologist Adam Grant writes, the test of integrity isn't how often you shift your stance. It's why you change your mind. Revising your words to gain approval is flip-flopping. Rethinking your views based on new facts is learning. Integrity isn't fidelity to your beliefs. It's fidelity to seeking the truth. There's nothing like having integrity. People are just naturally drawn to people of integrity, I think. But as Adam Grant teaches us, integrity is fidelity to seeking the truth, not fidelity to doing any one thing always, about being right all the time, and about being seen as virtuous without exception. That means that for time to time, leading with humility and curiosity rather than certainty is the way to go. It also means speaking up and following our values through to completion, even though we might have to sometimes admit that we're wrong and pursue another course that's perhaps even the opposite of what we thought was right. These are times that challenge all of us. As Jews, my prayer is that we never give up seeking what is right and good. We value truth and independent thought, even as we also are obligated to value the collective above our individual needs. This isn't always easy to do. And in these 2 years, it's perhaps harder than it's ever been to do. But it is nevertheless, I believe, our Jewish responsibility. Shabbat Shalom. We continue now with Aleinu L'Shabeach as our service concludes. I invite you to please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגוד עלינו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו
As many of you know, this week our world observed International Holocaust Remembrance Day. And just in time for that day, we saw in the news, among other disturbing recent incidents, that a school district in Tennessee has banned the teaching of the book Mouse. I don't know if others have read that book, but it was certainly an instrumental part of my childhood. It won the Pulitzer Prize, and a very stirring family memoir and accessible entry point into unpacking the horrors of the Holocaust. And the fact that this one school district decided to ban it is just evidence of what we know, which is that it needs to be taught, more. I hope that that banned book will be read by thousands more people than it would have been otherwise. And I hope that we never forget to tell the story to the next generation, as we will and continue to do so in the Jewish community. So tonight, as we enter Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, of course, our hearts turn to the 6 million among our people who perished in the Shoah, those known and those unknown, those who have no one left to say Kaddish for them. So we welcome them into our community as one Jewish family. I'd also like to share this poem. At the completion of Shiva, we have a few families who are near to completing or have just completed the 7 days following a loss. The Keller family and the Friedman Rubin family and the Hyman family. We see all of you and we recognize you in your loss. The days have passed and a quiet has settled on my home. My grief still holds me. My sorrow is present. Yet you, God of seasons, ask me to look gently toward the future. You, God of creation, ask me to imagine a time when the pain begins to fade, a time when my hopes are renewed. You, God of generations, ask me to honor life, to cherish memory, to love those who remain. Source and shelter, loving guide of the bereaved, Lead me on the path toward wholeness and healing, peace and comfort, so that I will become well and a well of compassion and strength. God of old, your ways are secret, sacred and holy. You are my rock. You are my lamp. Blessed are you, God of all, who redeems the bereaved with love. At this time, I'll invite, as I share the names of those we're remembering for Shiva and Shloshim, to please rise or stay standing when I read the name of your loved one. Helen Dreyfus, mother of David Keller and Molly, grandmother of Jennifer Keller and Abigail Wasserman. Rosalind Friedman, mother of Elizabeth Friedman Rubin, and Sandra Hyman, mother of Leslie Hyman and Blanche Boyd. Feel free also to rise if you're commemorating Yahrzeit this evening. And for Yahrzeit, we include Leon Menkes, Judith Markstein, Dr. Charles Steinberg, Estelle Garmisa, Ruth Denberg, Mordechai Hans, Marie Colisi, Martin Powell, Ron Lorber, Ian Ross Russell, Annie Toback, William Goldberg, Betty Langer, Lee Lipman, Helen Goodkind, and Harriet Spiegelman. We'll include also the names of your loved ones whom we haven't yet shared. If you'd like to make their names known through our chat, we can add them to our prayers, or you can, of course, hold them in your own heart as we pray together. I'll invite us to rise as one congregation in fellowship with all who mourn as we join together in the words of the mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei rabbah ve'alma divra chireute ve'yamlich malchute be'chayechon uve'yomechon uve'chaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv ve'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach le'alam ule'almei almaya yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitromam ve'yitnaseh ve'yithadar ve'yitaleh ve'yithalal shmei dekudesha barich hu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma ve'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabbah min shmaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Huya aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. May the source of peace bring peace into our world and comfort into the hearts of all who are bereaved. As together we say, amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav, Uyaseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen.
I invite everybody to have a seat. And out of this moment of grief, we surround ourselves and each other by our community and remember the joy of Shabbat. We're calling it in just a moment with our Kiddush. But before that, welcoming Andrea San Marco from our board to offer us Shabbat greetings. Hello, Andrea.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. A warm welcome to all guests here with us tonight. My name is Andrea San Marco, and I am a member at large on the board of directors here at TBT. Tomorrow, join us on Zoom for Torah study at 9 a.m., led by Cantor Boyle. Links are in your inbox. This Sunday, January 29th, religious school, confirmation, tikkun, and J-chat will all meet virtually. Check your inbox for links and times. And this Tuesday, February 1st at 7 p.m., we will hold a virtual town hall to update you on our renovation project. Links will be sent on Monday. February is Jewish Disabilities Awareness Month. Please mark your calendars for a special JDAM Shabbat on Friday, February 11th. The speaker that night will be Aaron Kaufman, Senior Legislative Associate for the Jewish Federations of North America. Our services will once again be on Zoom only next Friday. Once again, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Andrea.
Shabbat
And I'm
Shalom.
realizing that as I approved that announcement list, I forgot to add that among the many things going on Sunday will be our men's group. And so if you'd like to join us for a little bit of fellowship and nosh, unfortunately your own nosh, but nosh nonetheless, and a little bit of learning, you can come by anytime between 9:30 and 10:30, and we'll be doing a little class at 10:30. If you don't have the link, just send me an email and I'll send it to you. Okie dokie. Anything else that you wanted to add, Cantor Boyle?
No, I think that's everything.
Okay, terrific. Well, in that case, let's make Kiddush together. So if you have your wine nearby, I'm going to go find mine and we'll all sing the blessing with Cantor Boyle.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, mishabat kodsho be'avav ratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron le'maseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila l'mikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Ki banu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim. Mishabat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. And for challah time, we break bread together with our families and in a number of Zoom screens with our cats, who of course are parts of the family.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lachem min haaretz. Amen.
Amen. Just don't feed the cat the challah. Not healthy for the kitty. Okay, this has been your rabbinic dispensation. All right, everybody. Well, hey, it's good to be together. We look forward to coming back together in person one day, not too long from now, we hope. But in the meantime, it's good to see all of your faces. Feel free to turn on your camera if it's been off, and you can say Shabbat Shalom to one another. If you'd like, you can unmute and say hello. Shabbat Shalom.
I'm a little fuzzy.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Sabrina.
Yes, we were introducing Sabrina, how are you?